You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.
Welcome to Radio Mayapur. This is Gangadas, your podcaster. This is Radio Mayapur is a link to your heart. So thank you for listening to Radio Mayapur. Today we are in a manor in UK near London. It's a beautiful property donated by George Harrison that was originally 17 acres, but now they have 70 acres. They have expanded. They're doing a lot of nice preaching. There's a big community of Indian people here from Gujarat, and they're organizing marriage and festival and program. Beautiful place. Today, as usual, in London, here it's cloudy day. Yesterday, we were fortunate there was a nice sunshine, which is very rare. But today, we are very fortunate to have a sunshine with us. We have Mahatma Prabhu, who is Srila Prabhupada disciple, born in LA in 1950. He's very young, very handsome looking. And he studied in Berkeley, in California University, studied philosophy, music, and he's doing a lot of good things because I received one of his book, which was on this Japa meditation, which opened completely a new vision about chanting the holy name. Thank you for doing such a publication. Thank you for being with us today, Mahatma Prabhu.
Happy to be here.
Oh, that's so nice. I know you have so many good quality and you are inspiring so many people all over the world. You are also a spiritual master and you are a guru, therefore my respect to you. And so, Mahatma Prabhu, tell us a little bit of your childhood or where you grew up in LA in 1950. Let's say 1960 was a controversial hippie movement and something like that. How was the university? How was your family? A little bit, 5 minutes, few minutes.
I think most of us who grew up at that time, they grew up in a very affluent situation because America was extremely prosperous.
Yes.
And our parents had lived through the Depression, so they lived through hardships, and they wanted their children
to be better.
Yeah.
They worked really hard, actually.
So they spoiled us pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of set the soil, fertilized the soil for the hippie revolution because we had everything. And so we're like, okay, this doesn't work. We don't want it. It was easy to say, I don't want it because we had it all.
You had it all. You try everything.
Yeah. So, but the whole hippie thing was kind of just what the young people were doing. They were being revolutionary, which was also good because Prabhupada, he was seen as a revolutionary because he was against materialism. The hippies were against materialism. Yes. So there's a natural friendship there, marriage. And it's really interesting, when Prabhupada would say this is bad, that's bad, and put things down, the hippies really like that. Nowadays, if you do that, some people they take offense.
Yeah.
But the hippies, like, if you put something down, they're like, yeah,
let's do it.
It's bad.
We're also against the war of Vietnam, against the social status, against the wherever oppression by the government, or whatever was going on. It was crazy.
And Prabhupada was also against some of the things we were for as well.
Of course.
And
no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no free love, as we understood it at the time.
So some people didn't like that, obviously. But the people that met him had so much reverence and respect for him that when he said those things, a lot of them took it seriously. And a lot of them knew those things were not going to work, make them happy.
Also that experience, how much you can have with this, but still you feel frustrated. It's not that something.
And then the kirtan. Yeah. You feel better doing kirtan than you ever did on drugs.
Right. And people used to say, okay, after you come down, come to the kirtan and stay high forever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's amazing because Prabhupada came in a time that there was a fight into Vietnam, and he came on to preach us about the Bhagavad Gita, which is a war. Is that right? So,
yeah, it was. I mean, if you looked at it objectively, you would think that Prabhupada's message would fall on deaf ears, but people were ready for something else. They were frustrated, their life wasn't working materially. And Prabhupada was very pure, so he could cut through it all with a message that, although difficult to accept, would make sense to many people. Like lots of people.
Lots of young people, yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly young, under 30. Mostly early 20s.
Yes. So then, at one point in 1968, you met the devotee and your life changed. I mean, you were seeker of the truth. You were trying to figure out what's...
Yeah. I met them in 68 and made an impression, but I really wasn't ready. I had to have more experiences.
Who did you meet first?
I think I met a devotee named Keshava in Los Angeles on Harinam.
So you heard the holy name.
Yeah. And then when I went to school in Berkeley, then I would see them there.
Distributing books.
They were doing Harinam every day.
Every day in Berkeley.
One block from campus or right on the campus. And then they gave a Bhagavad Gita course. So I studied that. And so I was studying Bhagavad Gita twice a week and reading it. And, I read the whole Gita twice in 10 weeks. I was so interested in it. And they were on campus every day. So almost every day I was doing Harinam.
Nice.
Studying Bhagavad Gita. And I was ready. At that point, I was ready. I was looking for something.
Something higher. Depth.
Something about the Gita for myself, and I think for many devotees, it's like it put into words something we were feeling that we couldn't express exactly as the Gita expressed it. And when we read it, the Gita, then we thought, oh, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm understanding. I couldn't connect all the dots. I didn't have all the details, but this is what I'm understanding. And it's like, it's like, you're on a long journey and you finally, you're in a jungle and you're lost and you finally get out and find your way back home. It was like that. I'm looking for something. I don't know what it is. And then, this is what I'm looking for. It's like that type of thing.
For me, it was like a puzzle coming back together, and then I could see everything clear, because, like you said, the perception in your heart was there, and you think, maybe I'm crazy, or why I'm thinking like that. And you try to ask your friends, and some of them say, no way, it's that. Some of them understood, but as you said, we could not put it together into words.
Yeah.
Those feeling, perception, whatever. So amazing.
Some, like you say, some of your friends understood it, but not everyone was willing to.
Yeah.
If you understand it and then you accept it, then, if you accept it, then you have to do it. So some people understood it, but they didn't want to acknowledge it because they'd have to do it.
Yeah. Because in one sense, it means if you understood, you have to change your life, the way you're living. And then those changes by yourself is difficult to do because, I was vegetarian. Okay, I just stopped smoking. Okay, I didn't drink anymore, all these things. But still, you couldn't figure out by yourself. You can say, I can feel there is something, but what is it? Unless you meet the devotee, he will start to explain to you the Bhagavad Gita and the books of Srila Prabhupada was, you were like on the shore, but you couldn't go to swim because what is it? I'm scared of jumping.
Well, now because Prabhupada established temples, ashrams, so now you have a community. So you can't do it on your own. Well, just live in the ashram with people doing it. So it made it quite easy.
Or even do a course online. There are devotees. I know in Chennai there are like 15,000 people doing the Bhagavad Gita course.
Amazing.
During the COVID because people couldn't go out.
Yeah.
And then we distribute many books, but many people couldn't understand. So we try to do this Bhagavad Gita course online in different languages, in Tamil, in Hindi, in different languages. And people, they pay small amount, but they wanted to learn their culture. So this was amazing. Still today, we have 15,000 people doing the
Yeah.
course, and more people are joining.
It's amazing that so many people in India don't know Bhagavad Gita.
No, because the Bhagavad Gita, they know it's from their grandfather. I'm God, you're God, Mayavadi, some this one, that one, different idea. So they don't.
Or they think they already know it.
Oh, they think they know because they saw the book in their shelf. You know, oh, I know this.
Well, I always found it slightly awkward that I, as a young man, in my 20s, was teaching Bhagavad Gita to people who were from India, who were supposed to know Bhagavad Gita. And I'm quoting the verses in Sanskrit. They don't know them. They know a few verses.
Yes.
I learned from my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, so I could explain those verses. And it was like, boy, something's wrong with this picture. It's supposed to be the other way around. But anyway, that's the way it had to happen. And now people are becoming interested in a book that somehow or other was collecting dust on the shelf.
But Prabhupada say also, I will bring to India my white elephant, because Prabhupada tried to preach in India before coming to America, and nobody took it.
Yeah.
No, nobody. He went so many rich people saying, give me one of your sons, I'll make him a devotee, I'll make him a Brahmana. He says, Swamiji, but why Brahmana, where he gets money, he has to study, he has to make money? Because India was in the verge of, wherever the economy was.
But it would also appear to many people that India, being economically down or backwards or whatever, compared to the West, is just backwards in many ways.
Yes.
Technologically and so forth. So then someone could think, it's because of our religion, because we stick to these ancient ideas.
Yes.
That now
we're not progressing.
We're not progressing. We're suffering. It's actually because you didn't stick. It seems like you stuck to them, but you didn't stick to them, because when you did stick to them, you were the richest country in the world. So that was misinformation. But anyway, like you say, they wanted to follow America because it was so economically developed.
Yes,
it's understandable.
Sure.
But the interesting thing is, being raised in America is a whole different thing than being raised in India and looking towards America, because you look at, through movies or news or whatever, and you don't understand the ramifications of developing a materialistic culture. Then the problems you have, the social problems that you didn't have in India, you come to America and then you have to deal with them. So, we have so many nice things in America, but we have problems that are consequences of that, which in a traditional system, Vedic system, you would have less.
But also remember that in India, until that time, I think I was in India in 1977, and you see people struggling for just survive, for existence. I mean, there is a line 1 kilometer just to get the water to drink. Or there are ladies going in the forest to pick up some stick to cook fire for cooking their meal. Or there are children without, proper coat. Or everybody live in a bamboo house. And there is, so much corruption that, even if you work really hard, you couldn't come and become anybody.
Yeah.
We see a lot of changes in the last 15 years. For example, when the leader of India changed, now there is Mr. Modi, who has, reinvented India. And you say, we are not poor. For the last 70 years, you guys say, okay, 400 years of invasion of Muslim, 200 years of British, and now we are poor. But why we are poor? Because the politicians stole all the money.
Yeah.
So you say, no, we're not a poor country, we're rich. And now he show us by what he's doing. He's changing the face of India and infrastructure, roads and airport and railway stations. So,
well, I think it's...
But because people that were suffering so much, So
in that sense, it's good, because once you have those things, then you can focus on your spiritual, and you can realize those things, it's not everything. And then, what India is doing now, at least for many people, is they're kind of waking up to their culture. Like, we couldn't look because we were looking
Yeah.
to develop economically because we
Yeah.
were so impoverished. So that's good. So now,
I think they have both of the best world because they are both materially they're coming up, and spiritually they have the knowledge by which they can guide the whole world because Vedic knowledge is so powerful, and the government is actually making a road to show the people, yes, okay, we have knowledge from the scriptures.
yeah.
So there is some. Before it was hidden knowledge because there was influence from different religion, different things,
Yeah.
different politicians who were interested in controlling people, keeping them in ignorance. But now it's changed, and maybe in few years India will become the leader of the whole world and guide everybody according to the Vedic scripture. Maybe, possibly.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because they have the knowledge. They are not blind.
America's power is not spiritual,
No.
but as a result of the knowledge that has been exported from India, America could be also a leader, spiritual leader.
Sure. Why
As
not?
many companies are, they're starting to understand the need for spirituality and helping people just deal with
Absolutely.
life.
But also remember that India export all the brain of the world, all the doctor, engineer, people working in NASA, they're all Indians.
Yeah.
Because there are people who come from very simple background. They were not spoiled by drug or alcohol or stuff or television. And their brain is clean and they're able to succeed.
Yeah, and they had, from what I've seen also, Indians have a natural aptitude to understand spiritual knowledge. It's like their brains are, you say in a sense, meant for understanding these things, and they have faith in the Vedas.
Yes.
So it's a really good formula. What I see often, which is disappointing, is if they're looking for solutions, if they're looking towards the West for solutions, when those solutions are in their backyard,
Of course.
then it's like, it's sad. Not all solutions are in the backyard, but a lot are, and they don't understand it. And sometimes they have to go around 360 degrees before they realize that we have a better solution than we got from the West.
Absolutely. But let's go back 1 second and say, okay, you met the Lord in 60 years. When is the first time you met Srila Prabhupada or you saw him?
First time I saw Prabhupada was in December, second, third week of December 1969.
Okay.
In Los Angeles.
What was your impression of seeing Srila Prabhupada?
Well, it was very interesting because the temple in Los Angeles was in my neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
It was like, I think it's 9 blocks from my house.
That was in what, 2nd Avenue? No, before.
No, before. It's another street called La Cienega.
Oh, okay.
And so I had friends that lived around the temple, that whole neighborhood. And it was like Prabhupada's in my neighborhood, which was really nice. So when it moved to the second temple where it is today, that's also my neighborhood. And wherever Prabhupada went in Los Angeles, that's where I grew up. All those places he went, I went. That's to the beach there, that's where I went. To the park that he used to walk in, that's the park I grew up in and played everything. So then I see Prabhupada in the Los Angeles airport, so it's kind of like my backyard. If you have some faith and some spiritual sensitivity, that when you see Prabhupada, it's a bit overwhelming. It's like it's not something you are thinking, and it's not an analytical experience, it's an emotional experience. So when you see him, you're overwhelmed by the purity, and that purity hits you. What I felt spontaneously when I saw Prabhupada, I saw him and I thought, or I felt, this is the person who's going to end my cycle of birth and death and bring me back to Krishna. And so it's like, that's a very powerful emotional experience. Like,
absolutely,
this is the person. It's like if you have a disease and only one doctor in the world can cure you, and the doctor shows up. It's like, this is the person who's going to save my life. So this is a person who's going to save me from my eternal material existence and bring me back to Krishna. So it was like very, very powerful. So I just started crying. And I had not moved in the ashram at that point. So I wasn't chanting 16 rounds, but I studied Bhagavad Gita. I'd been chanting some. So I was, more or less ready to become a devotee. So it was like,
amazing experience, which is difficult to put in words, actually. Many devotees have similar experience. Many devotees said that when Srila Prabhupada looked at them, it's like Srila Prabhupada went through the X-ray of their life, and they saw everything, past, present, and future, and say, okay, you come with me, and then I'll take care of it.
Yeah. One devotee said when Prabhupada met him, Prabhupada said to him, so when are you becoming a devotee? Or like, when are you moving in? As if like, we're joining up together from the past life. I've been waiting for you. I think a lot of devotees had that experience, and I also saw that with other devotees. It was like you took birth here to help Prabhupada. That's what it seemed like.
But that also, I think, would be their sincerity of their heart and the fact they were seeking for shelter for coming out of this suffering situation. Because we know also, like Allen Ginsberg or many other famous people, the Beatles, out of the Beatles, only one. So everybody saw Prabhupada, everybody met and spoke to him.
Obviously he had effect on
Obviously he has an effect on everybody, but who was really sincere that it clicked and it said, okay, this is it. And this is my way out of the suffering of the material world, the samsara, the cycle of birth and death, because...
Well, some people are more evolved spiritually, so when they met Prabhupada, everything clicked. Other people, it may take another life or two or three. I mean,
it clicked to some extent, but they had some material attachment. There's some stuff that they want to do in the material world.
Yeah, it wasn't only George Harrison that spent time with Prabhupada. They all did.
Yes,
but
he decided to become his follower, to the point that George Harrison at one point asked Srila Prabhupada, shall I come and move in the temple? Shall I give up music? Whatever you say, I'll do. And Prabhupada said, no, keep on doing music. He said, you're already my disciple. Your name is Hari's son. The son of Hari.
And we're sitting in
a place donated by him today, which is a huge mansion, beautiful place. Plus, he donated for printing the Krishna book. Plus, he made an album which was in a hit parade of Europe for a long time. My Sweet Lord, and Devotee made a record. And I mean, he helped a lot.
But that was all like, when Prabhupada was in India, Rupa Goswami spoke to him and said, you go to the West, I'll take care of everything. That same thing, for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, the Acharyas came and appeared and said, you go, you do this, we'll take care of everything. So this was all meant to happen. And, George Harrison coming and him being famous and wealthy, and, he was probably more responsible for the success of the work and we did in England than anybody.
Yes, absolutely. He came to India in 1982, and I was there. I used to take picture with him, and he was asking me, "Oh, you like this camera?" I had one small Olympus camera. We didn't know he was coming, so at the time we were only 30 devotees in Mayapur, and nobody had a camera. I think Pancharatna Prabhu had a small camera, this Olympus, which you open, with a film. 30.
Oh yeah.
That there was no digital camera at the time, and so I used to click in a few films, and then he asked me, do you like this camera? I said, no, it's a piece of junk. I don't have any other one. I thought so. I had the same camera. But he was chanting Hare Krishna with us in the morning, and seeing the garden, speaking to everybody. When he entered the main gate, he said, oh, you Hare Krishna must have sold a lot of incense to build this place. That's interesting. He was very, very nice. He personally told me that, to be famous is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because he say, if I go anywhere in the world where they know me, it's impossible for me to walk on the street. But he say, two countries I can go, Africa and India. Nobody knows me. I can walk anywhere. So
nice.
So,
nice.
But anyway.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Because we all want to be rich and famous.
Yeah, famous, right? But then he said, I cannot walk anywhere. And he was with a bodyguard with a gun all the time because this was after they kill,
John Lennon.
John Lennon, yes. So he said, even this guy is coming, I go to the bathroom, this guy is behind me. So I cannot be alone.
Yeah.
But he was such a, friendly person and a very, like a devotee, so no problem. He was not puffed up or thinking I am special.
Well, I often thought about him because when I became a devotee, I was a college student. So I really had very little. My greatest possession was a couple guitars. And, all I had is some albums, my big attachments, my guitars and my albums.
Yeah.
And no fame and no bank balance. So giving everything up was not really giving everything up, it was giving very little. For him to remain humble as he was to Srila Prabhupada in that position is a whole different thing.
It's amazing,
Yeah,
actually.
it is.
It's very amazing. And if you think, because he was also aware that people get close to him just to get money or favor and this and that, so he was not stupid. He was very sharp, very intelligent, but still with the devotee he was acting in a very humble way. And,
he understood his position.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and he used, as you said, Prabhupada didn't want him to renounce. He wanted him to use his talents, and he did. And what's really interesting? I don't know if people understand this, but Bob Dylan, at one point in his career, became a Christian. Did you know that?
No.
He became a Christian, and he started singing music, Christian, with Christian philosophy in it. And sometimes when he would do that, it's not the Bob Dylan people loved. They didn't like it, and they would boo him he would sing the song, and he would get booed off the stage or booed on the stage. And if you think about what George Harrison did, he came out pretty straight. And, in a sense, he was risking his career. I don't think he cared, actually, because that's what he wanted to do. But unlike Bob Dylan, who
took the mood.
People appreciated, My Sweet Lord was such a big song. And the word Lord, My Sweet Lord, like Lord in a rock and roll song, generally it's not.
It was not taken.
It's a gamble that people may love you, may hate you. So I don't think people realize that. In a sense, he was very detached. He said, this is what I want to do. Prabhupada wants me to glorify Krishna. I'll do it. And whatever happens, happens. And it was extremely successful.
And he put the Maha mantra inside that song as well.
Yeah.
So I remember, I was listening to this song. I didn't know anything, but it was so attractive. So it was magnetic. It was amazing.
It made a lot of people devotees.
Made a lot of people devotees. Yeah.
Like in the 70s. I had already become a devotee, I think, before that song had come out. But I know other people who came later, and they said that song had huge influence on them, which is really interesting, that one song could make so many devotees. One English song.
Yeah, I think the sound vibration of that song is so powerful that enter your heart and then make you like a kind of revolution, thinking, what am I doing? Where am I going? What's going on? So, because sound vibration is so powerful that can
and
change people unknowingly.
But the words are they're pretty direct, pretty pure. I want to see you. I'm not qualified to see you.
But even at the time, I didn't know English. I'm in Italy, but still it's so attractive.
Yeah.
So
Prabhupada heard it. I think, as I remember when he heard it, he said, this is the idea that we don't think I can see God. We think I want to see him. I'm not qualified. And that's our philosophy.
Right.
If someone says I can see God, unless they're very elevated,
of course.
No.
But usually devotees don't say that, even if they see it. But let's move a chapter ahead. Now, which point you enter to be part of the temple? You were brahmachari, or you were
So
you move into the temple,
Yeah.
LA temple or some other temple?
I was in Berkeley.
Berkeley.
I went to school in Berkeley, and that's where I met the devotees.
Right.
I met them in October of '69. They met Prabhupada in December of '69. I had already decided before I met Prabhupada I wanted to move in the temple. And I knew the devotees there, and I guess I felt awkward moving into the Los Angeles temple, because it's a city I grew up, but my parents are right there, and I thought it would be better to do it in Berkeley. So January, about the third week of January, I moved into the temple, and then 2 months later I was initiated.
Nice.
And then 2 months later I joined a Grihasta couple and 2 brahmacharis to open a temple in San Jose. And then June, July, then August I was moved, or July I was moved to San Francisco temple.
Wow.
Because the leader of San Jose went there. And then a few months later I was made temple president in Vancouver.
Very fast.
So 20 years old and 8 months in the movement, I was now, which was not that difficult, because basically we were just going out all day, Harinam Sankirtan, chanting on the street. It was a pretty simple program.
Mm-hmm.
And Prabhupada gave us a schedule, and we followed that. And
Nice.
even though we were very young and inexperienced,
and there were not many books available at that time, no? There was only a few small books, and maybe one Bhagavad Gita was a abridged version or something.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
We didn't know a lot, but we had a lot of faith in Prabhupada, and so we just did what he told us. And people came.
Amazing.
And after I was there, like a year and a half, there were like 20 people or so came. And we had had started a second temple. We had done traveling. We did so many things. Prabhupada was enthusing us. He was just like, his whole thing was just to encourage us.
Yeah.
And if we were encouraged and enthused, everything would happen, even though we weren't experienced. And you take experienced people that aren't enthused, it's not going to happen. But even very inexperienced people, enthused, here's the books, let's go out and distribute them. Here's the holy name, we'll go out. Here's a festival, we'll go there and chant, we'll distribute prasadam. These are the things we were doing, and we would write letters to Prabhupada every month and tell him what we're doing, and he would encourage us. Thank you for doing this, I'm very happy, please continue. That was all we needed to hear, and then we tried sincerely.
Your determination was all you need, and I think this is when you're in this position, you surrender to the words of the spiritual master and Krishna. The magic happened.
Exactly.
I've seen him personally in my life many times.
Exactly.
Sankirtan, I travel, or whatever we do, because if we are sincere and honest, and we know our position as servant, and we are empowered by the spiritual master words, and we are like, I can do this. I don't know, I'm stupid, I cannot do this, but because Prabhupada say we should.
Yeah, well, it was a feeling like, well, Lord Chaitanya wants it, Prabhupada wants it, somebody's got to do it. I don't know how to do it, but if they want it, they'll make it happen. So if I try, they'll give me some intelligence, they'll give me some ability. So we never were thinking, I can't do this. We were thinking, well, Lord Chaitanya can do it. And if I don't, there's like no one else to do it. So we don't really have a choice of finding somebody more qualified. It's either us or nobody.
Absolutely. We did many service, many things. We built chariots. We went Sankirtan in Kolkata, the most busy place, in Calicut Street. And you had to go 6 o'clock in the morning, park your van. Otherwise, there is no place to walk in that place. But we did it. When we turned on the speaker with Srila Prabhupada's voice singing, the whole place would change.
Yes.
I could see, the magic, through the sound vibration of Prabhupada singing. All the people would become mellow and smile and soft and sweet. Before they were all like, fighting for survival. But then the sound vibration of Prabhupada make it like, well, what happened now?
Yes.
It's how the people came and say, oh, Swamiji, what book, this, that, the preacher's book.
And Prabhupada would always tell us that that's going to happen. Krishna will do the magic.
Absolutely.
You don't, and You know, one of the most satisfying things is when you're giving people Krishna consciousness, you inevitably meet someone who is immediately attracted and feels like this is exactly
What they need.
what I need. And, you know, and then you think, well, if I didn't meet this person, I don't know what would have happened to them. These people become devotees very naturally, very easily. And you realize there's so many people waiting for Krishna, like Mahaprabhu knows that they're out there, but someone's got to go out there and meet them.
Absolutely.
And someone's got to help them, take them by the hand, instruct them, guide them throughout their whole life.
Yes.
And it's a great honor to be able to do that, to have that service. And
So actually we have a mission in life, and this is to fulfill the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Manovistam. It's his desire that we distribute this mercy to everybody unconditionally without any discrimination. Like you cannot say, oh, this guy will take, that guy won't take, this guy will maybe, you know, you just go out and give to everybody, and then
it's not your job.
You know, whoever is ready will take it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us some of your most amazing magic experience in Krishna consciousness?
Huh.
I'm sure you have many, but just one which comes to your mind.
Well, one of the experiences I had in Mayapur, which was quite magical, because if it's going to be magical, that's probably where it's going to be, right? The first time I ever did Harinam, maybe it was the second time, but in Navadvip, but this Harinam I was leading for hours and hours nonstop. There's a devotee there, remember Madan Mohan, I think his name was. He had a rickshaw, and we'd sit on the back of the rickshaw, and he would go through the streets of Navadvip with a sound system. So one day he asked me if I would like to do it, and I said, sure. I think there was only like 3 of us or something, you know. So I was the one leading the kirtan, sitting on the cart. So I don't know how long it was, 3 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, I can't remember.
You lose concept of time in Mayapur.
No, it's, you know, doing kirtan in the same place Mahaprabhu did, it's quite special. But I remember distinctly that when I came back to the Mayapur campus, I got off the cart and it's time to go home. I couldn't stop chanting. And for like 10 minutes, I was experiencing Krishna in the holy name, like we've heard you would experience in a higher state. Yes. Like unlike any time, like he's there, I was experiencing a sweetness. Like it was like the curtains were removed, you know, the wrapper was taken off. I could taste the sweetness, and it was unlike. It was like Mahaprabhu was saying, "Hey, I like what you did. Here's a little present for you." It was such an interesting experience because it's this holy name we're chanting. There's so much there. If Mahaprabhu is merciful, he can remove the wrapper, and we can suck that candy. But so many times we don't get it. And when he's pleased, he can just say, "Here."
Yeah, it is. Take it.
So it was like an experience of the holy name that is probably what it's like on very high levels of bhakti. Like I didn't deserve it, but it was just given. Well, that's how mercy works. You know, you're given
the missing
something.
thing of this experience is something you carry in your heart. You can never forget.
No.
So you anchor to get a little more, that drop of nectar, and now and then.
Yeah, exactly. You know it's there. You know, well, he does that also a little bit when we're young devotees, just to keep us going, to let us know this is real and there's something there. But you can't force it.
No.
It comes.
No.
When he gives it, it comes.
Sweet will. You just surrender and it comes.
But you know, a lot of times we don't want to do austerity because it's difficult. But the austerity is what brings the mercy, and then the mercy brings that revelation and experience, which is like is amazing, worth way more than the austerity we put in.
Of
so
course.
when I see there's going to be some austerity or opportunity for austerity, I always think, good, because this will purify me.
Absolutely. Mahatma Prabhu, can you tell us, you publish many books, I know.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your books and where people can find your books, of course?
Yeah, they're all on Amazon under Mahatma Das. The first 2 books that I wrote were originally written as articles, and I got to a point in my Krishna consciousness where I was seeing that there's philosophy, but taking the philosophy and putting it into practice was more of a challenge. And a lot of people knew the philosophy, but they weren't practicing what they knew. A lot of people knew the philosophy, but they weren't feeling like, I know I should be humble, but I don't feel like it. I know I shouldn't be envious, but I don't feel like it. So I was seeing, you get in your head, you understand it, but you don't feel it, or you get in your head, maybe you feel it, but you don't know how to apply it. So I started.
It's like a book of instruction, like how to apply knowledge in a practical way.
Yeah. So I called it Living the Wisdom of Bhakti.
Nice.
So you have the wisdom, but this is how you live it. And so they started as articles. I would pick something that I saw, all relevant things that I was seeing, challenges, forgiveness, dealing with envy, dealing with jealousy, dealing with criticism, things of that nature. And so I knew at some point those articles could form a book. And I knew it would be the easiest way for me to write a book. It's just because I had vowed to send 1 article out a month.
Nice.
So we turned those into 2 books, volume 1 and 2, and they cover most of the things that devotees were going to face.
Yeah. We need those books because otherwise many people I see around the world struggling. Okay, how do I do this? I know this, but I can't do it. It's due to anartha, desire, this, that. So it's a kind of analytical study of our own self. Science of self-realization means you're constantly introspectively looking into your heart and your mind and think, okay, what is stopping me to go to the next level? There are different levels, from sadhu sangha to prema. There are all the different stages. And to understand where you are, it's important.
And why. And sometimes but you don't know, you don't do it. So then understand, why am I not doing what I know, what's going on? Swadhyaya, understanding yourself, analyzing. That's so important.
Very
it's
important.
Part of the process. So this book kind of helps you do that. There's exercises, there's questions to answer, to ask yourself, like you said, what could I do to improve in this area?
And
so forth.
So I would suggest to all our listeners to purchase your book from Amazon, which is called
Living the Wisdom of Bhakti.
Living the Wisdom of Bhakti. It's such a nice book.
Then I have 3 other books. So then I had come up with 20 affirmations for Japa, which were...
That's beautiful, that small book.
Yeah.
I got it many years ago. I really improved my Japa, and I keep on distributing them. I get them from Jamasani.
Yeah.
He has always a bag full of it in my office. I say, okay, come here, give me some.
Those were all affirmations that came out of my Japa retreats and workshops.
You do also workshop and retreat. What is the next retreat or workshop?
The next one's in Malaysia.
In Malaysia, in which month?
August 22nd, I think.
And for how long is a retreat?
Like 3-4 days.
3-4 days. That will be connected with our ISKCON temple?
Yeah. Nice. The Chinese devotees are coming. It's for the Chinese devotees.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So
Chinese people have become very serious.
I've one of the main things I do is help devotees with their japa, and
that's beautiful.
I've been teaching almost 20 years now, and evolving it more and more through the feedback I get from the devotees I'm teaching in terms of their challenges and what helps them. So
this is definitely, I would suggest, a book which all the devotees should get, because it's a small book, and you can read every day one affirmation, and then you can click into that, and your quality of your japa, your connection with the Lord, the purpose why we are doing, it's not mechanical anymore, because you can chant 30 years, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, but what am I chanting? I don't know. I'm chanting. Okay, it's fine, it's good. Sound vibration, but to understand why and the purpose and the goal and the mode and the vibration and the feeling you should have towards this communication, establishing this relationship with Krishna.
Well, a lot of devotees tell me they never chanted japa any other way other than mechanically.
Absolutely.
That's all. They just took it and said, well, I thought you're supposed to chant a certain number of rounds.
And then put away your bead bag and forget about it.
Yeah, and if you hit that certain number, it's like taking a medicine. You just take it, however you take it, just take it.
It works.
And it works, but it doesn't work that way. It's not
mechanical.
If you're chanting and you're not relishing it, it's not sweet, you're not enjoying it, it means you're not chanting properly. And vice versa.
Of course.
And so we don't want our devotees to spend their whole life struggling with their japa and just getting it done out of a duty, but not out of an attraction, out of love. So that's what that book does. It helps. But interestingly, we have another book called Self-Care Affirmations.
Okay.
And so what I discovered over the years is that if I teach someone how to chant and I give them all the tools and the mentality and the moods, doesn't mean they're going to do it because they may not care enough about their own spiritual life.
That's important.
So I realized that a lot of times it's not that someone doesn't like chanting, it's more fundamental. They don't care enough about their spiritual life to take care of their chanting. So the self-care takes it down another level. That, do you care enough about yourself to care enough about your japa?
In other words, you don't have self-esteem. Like you think I'm worthless, I'm fallen.
I don't care about myself.
I'm nobody, and why?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
Krishna
matter.
doesn't care.
Krishna will take care.
Exactly. I don't care.
But our estimate of ourselves. I'm not saying you should become puffed up and think you're special, but we are nothing. Of course, we are nothing. But we are servant to the servant of the servant.
We're something in Krishna's eye.
And if Krishna put us in this position to reconnect with Him, that means we can be that small knot, which is part of the big machine, serve the purpose.
He wants it.
So He wants us to be.
He wants it. He wants us.
Yeah.
He loves us. Prabhupada said, if you try to love Krishna, you'll see how much he loves you. And if you think Krishna doesn't love me, he doesn't care about me, it's easy to give up on my bhakti because if someone doesn't care about me and I have low self-esteem, I don't care about myself. Nobody cares about me.
Yeah.
So that book has helped.
It's dangerous because it can lead you to suicide or giving up spiritual life.
Yeah, or
trying to get quick stimulant or quick gratification.
It leads to a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
I'm bad, I'm useless, I'm worthless.
There's a lot of people who have this, not a lot I would say, but some devotees have this mentality because maybe they went through some serious experience when they were a child. They were abandoned by the parents, or the parents divided themselves, divorced, or there was abuse, or they grew up in some hostel because the father, mother, or something.
Oh yeah, it's pervasive. So it's getting worse.
In our, let's say, in our generation, we were fortunate because our family was together. There was a lot of love. At least in my family, I grew up in Italy. There was a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of
definitely
abundance of everything and affection. That is very important.
You feel valued.
It makes you grow. Okay, you have to do this because you're part of this family. You have to serve your uncle. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Yeah.
So it adds value to your life. But nowadays, where people, husband and wife, work outside and the children are left alone on the school, I see in Japan, every morning near the temple, there are the lady or the husband bringing small kids, 3-4 years old, to the school, and they leave them there. And then they come back in the afternoon when they come back from work. It's different,
And that will affect your spiritual life.
Absolutely.
Because you look at God like you look at your parents.
Yeah.
And if your parents seemed to not care enough about you, you'll think, God, why would God care about you?
Because when the parents come back home in the evening, they're tired and they don't have time and energy to take care of your child.
Or they may have their own emotion. They have their own emotional problems, and then they take it out on the kids.
Yeah.
So that book has really helped a lot of devotees.
Nice.
So that's really important. I don't think everyone realizes when they'll see the book Self-Care. They won't realize how transformational it is, but those who took the course said it's the most transformational of like 13 workshops I've done. And I've done some pretty heavy workshops. We have workshops on humility, false ego, forgiveness, relationships, marriage, it's all like, confronting your stuff. And they said this went the deepest, right to the core of like, why don't I care enough about my spiritual life? And Prabhupada was always asking us to care.
Always.
You can go back to Godhead in this life.
Absolutely. Mahatma Prabhu, can you tell a little bit about your company? You have a company where which you care also about not just the devotees, but you're extending your care to other people in the world.
Well,
I don't know what's the name of the company.
Sattva Life. Sattva Life. So one of the things that we've done is we've created online courses. So we have on Japa, on self-care, on forgiveness, on sexual purity, on vows. We're working on one on preparing for marriage, and then we'll have another marriage course. So I'm targeting areas where I feel there's a vacuum in our movement, where they're not either. I'm teaching it maybe in a different way, or it's not being taught at all. Like self-care is not taught, forgiveness is rarely taught, but it's all taught within a context of practice, exercises, reflection. It's not just theory. So we do that, and the books, and just catering to those areas that I feel are being neglected. And taking those topics, I've taken a lot of those topics outside, to the outside world, and Krishnized them because they're relevant. We also started a project called the Mantra Project, which was meant to help new people learn to chant japa. And we're also I'm working now with Pancharatna Prabhu to develop a japa-like support where we'll provide facilities ongoing, like for the rest of your life, basically.
That's
just
nice.
To support your japa. So I've really focused a lot on japa. And I wrote a book for non-devotees. It's not published yet, but it's like introductory, which makes Krishna consciousness relevant, simple, and we're going to have an app that connects to each chapter. So each chapter you can follow up.
Nice.
So, and
I think this is a revolutionary way of introducing Krishna consciousness to people who don't know anything.
Yeah, keep it simple and resonating, and the language they're used to in modern spiritual books. So, and I helping people understand themselves and their own psychological problems. It's a real barrier to their spiritual life, because they come to Krishna consciousness, but then they have these personal problems, and it creates problems even in chanting japa.
Yes. I think these are vasanas or impression in your mind that there is something which is an obstacle to you, but you cannot figure out what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I studied psychology a little bit and self-development so that I could at least diagnose it if I can't cure it, because sometimes the traumas are deep and it needs more professional help.
Yeah.
But rather than just say, well, you need to chant more rounds, which in many cases they're doing, but the problems they're not spiritual in nature.
Right.
So they have to be addressed. So
I know that there's some people who do regression as well in the material world, I'm saying, not the body. I met one lady, her name is Doris, and she's a psychologist, and she does regression. She's from Austria, but she lives here near Savona. I met her, and a friend of my family, and she's telling me that she's able to help many people. I was telling to her about you, and she was very impressed, and she was telling me, maybe I can. She's becoming like a devotee. She's already vegetarian.
Oh, nice.
And she listened to Bhanu Maharaj's class, and she came and met him a few times. So I want to connect her with you so that you can help her to help other people.
Yeah,
she does professional regression, and because some people, she say, they are something deeper they don't understand. It's something from previous life. In Sanskrit, we call it vasanas.
And samskaras,
and samskaras as
past
well.
impressions, phobias, fears, traumas can be from other lives, and they affect us now. And like I think a common thing that we've seen from the early days is some people have issues with authorities. They just, for whatever reason, maybe their parents were heavy, maybe it was a past life thing, maybe they were just hippies, whatever. And that can affect their ability to accept the instructions of a guru. A simple,
I had a problem like this, and I was a rebel, and in the army I was to rebel and do everything opposite, but in the end, they gave me such a heavy medicine that I could not refuse and say, okay, either you follow this, otherwise you end up in jail. And I end up in jail a few times. And then they say, okay, we have a special jail for you. It's 6 feet by 3 feet and 1 foot of water. You cannot sleep. You can stand there.
Oh my God.
They'll give you only water and bread. And then after some time, your foot will rot and you die. You want to have that experience? I said, no. And I say, okay, next time I change. I start to accept that authority.
Whoa.
But because I was a rebel, being hippie and rebelled against everything, but it worked out. So it was a blessing to go to the army and get trained and get discipline in your mind, thinking that you cannot be a dog and do just whatever you want.
Well, some people have been trusting and been abused by the person they trusted. And so now when they come to spiritual life,
they think, oh, wait a minute.
I can't trust, how can I...
That's true.
How can I trust this person? Because...
Could be another...
And so they have to heal, they have to work through that.
Absolutely.
And so normally we would give reasons why you should trust, philosophical reasons. But if it's a psychological problem, often the philosophical reasons cannot heal it, and you have to go and heal the wound or the trauma or whatever it is. And once that's healed, then they can trust again. So that's unfortunate that the material situation is causing a problem for their spiritual life. And often we'll try to heal them with philosophy, but they understand the philosophy. They'll say, I understand, but still.
I can't
trust. I've been burnt out.
Absolutely.
I've been betrayed.
That's why we have to become exemplary to the world, because the Christians say, don't do what we do what we say. And now there is no more Italian priest, basically, in Italy. I grew up in Rome. Vatican is there. I go to church sometime, and I can understand this priest is from South America, Mexico, this other guy is from China, this other guy is...
Really?
There is no Italian priest, because basically, Italian people feel like, they've been betrayed by the church, because they drink wine, they smoke, and they eat meat, and they do everything everybody does. So then how can I trust this person? I mean, their preaching is good, but when you see their life, there's a lot of holes. So anyway, we don't want to go into that. But Mahatma Prabhu, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. It was a long time I wanted to do this podcast. If you have a message for the people who are listening to Radio Mayapur.
Yes.
What is the message?
The message is Krishna loves you.
Krishna loves you.
And bhakti is simply reciprocating with that love. That's all it is. So,
but how to establish the relationship with the Lord?
First thing, you already have the relationship.
Okay. Everybody has.
You already have it.
Okay.
And it's really important to understand that Krishna wants that relationship with you.
Nice.
Krishna loves you and he wants that relationship. And so when we talk about giving to Krishna or surrendering to Krishna, there's a lot of fear around that.
Yes.
I'll be exploited. I won't be happy. But don't think of it as surrender as much as reciprocating with the love he's already giving you. So if you allow yourself to feel that love, then you have that love to reciprocate with. If you think he doesn't love you, then there's nothing to reciprocate with. And you'll think, what's the point? He doesn't care. So I think that's extremely important. And to understand, essentially, that's what bhakti is. That's reciprocating with the love that Krishna is giving you. And when you chant, you can pray, Krishna, please help me. Reciprocate with your love. It's a beautiful way to chant. That's my message.
Yeah, okay. If you don't mind, I will add small things, which I think is important. Starting with gratefulness every day, because we see the sun, we see the sky, we see the water, the tree, and everything surrounding us, which is given to us by the Lord. If we are grateful every day and say, okay, my grandfather used to say, sometimes, because I used to complain, I don't have a new bike, I don't have a new girl, I don't have enough money, blah, blah, blah. I say, okay, you should go to the hospital sometime. I say, why should I go to the hospital? I say, see the people in the hospital. When you come out of that, you feel better. I don't want to be pessimistic, but the idea is that if I'm grateful every day for whatever, he said, look at you, your eyes, your ear, your head, your leg, your body is working. You go into the hospital, you see people without legs, people with, a lot of big problems. So you are okay. And I also, so to feel grateful is very important.
I also think it's grateful it's important to be grateful for the holy name.
Absolutely.
That really,
absolutely.
Krishna comes to us in his name. It's such mercy. And a lot of times when devotees are chanting, they have a difficult time. And I say that if you just say, thank you, Krishna, for coming to me in the holy name, it will immediately change your whole perception of the holy name. That Krishna's willing to come to you. That's amazing. God, he's willing to sit with you.
Amazing.
And if you're just grateful for that, it can really revolutionize. Just that one practice can revolutionize your japa.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Great pleasure to be with you today. And Srila Prabhupada blessings on all of us. And let me know when you're doing the next course in Mayapur. I want to participate in your course and learn more.
Oh, well, we're doing a retreat at the Govardhan Eco Village, March 4th through 10th.
Okay, that's
next year. We do retreats every year.
Can people sign up online?
Yeah, go to my website, mahatmadas.com, and there'll be some information. And the actual registration is going to start in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And we do these every year, and we go very deep into introspection.
Nice.
We self-examination, looking at our lives, looking at our consciousness, looking at how we can evolve. And it's been quite transformational for many, many devotees. So it's going to be amazing, and you're all invited. And we'd love to have you there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Gi.
Mahatmadas.com, and I have all the information.
Thank you so much, Mahatma. Pleasure being with you.
You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.